We're back here in the final segment of our program, and we are speaking with Peter Nygard today about some health issues that we ought to educate ourselves on. And Peter Nygard, you had done a whole lot of work on helping the Bahamas to prepare itself for the introduction of stem cell research and therapy in the Bahamas.
That tape shows two issues. One, me being part of the discovery of the greatest discovery ever in the world of health, the SCND, somatic cell nucleus transfer, and the issue of being able to return ourselves back to the embryonic state. The second part was that then what are we going to do with it? And that required us to write laws in countries to allow it to be done. The Prime Minister, Perry Christie, was involved with this project already 2 years before he was ever elected as a Prime Minister. I had asked him to come and invite him to study this field in here, because I said, Prime Minister, this could put Bahamas on the map. This could put the Bahamas up there as the key country, you know, who has embraced this new technology. And this has created what you call medical tourism in a true sense of the word. You're offering something to behave to the world that is not available in the United States, it's not available in Cuba or somewhere else. And if you do write this law correctly, you're going to have you could be legendary, you know. And Mr. Prime Minister, I would love to see you lead the way, you know. Join hands with me and say, I'm on this myself, you know, and here, look at me, you know, I don't have this stubmates. So I go in front of the people, lead the way on this thing. Lead the way going out to the world out there and selling the fact that Bahamas has this. And he was all game on it. As you saw in that thing, he put it through the Parliament, and he thanked me in Parliament for it. Mm-hmm. The big tragedy of this is that Mr. Lois Bacon put a stop to it all. This was the biggest prize of all, because by now we should have had a $200–300 million clinic over here in Bahamas, you know, that I was planning to build already, and all these people come in here. And this could have been a major activity for these people. And let me say this, that the laws prevent snake oil guys from coming in. That's why it was important to put the laws in here, because there's so many people bragging about the fact that they can cure this and cure that, etc. And we need to make sure that we were very credible, we were at top end, we were approved by FDA, and etc., etc. But then we would give the people, like you and I, the privilege of being able to decide ourselves as to what bodies, i.e. to put stem cells into ourselves. Well informed, right? In the United States, I couldn't do it. You know, so we could, in fact, start using all this technology well ahead of its time that it can take. It takes 30 years to do that in the United States. Mm-hmm. So we really created a very favorable environment out of this area. And tragedy was that anything he tried to do in that regard, join in with me on it, was totally shot down by Bacon's operatives. Even in Parliament, they're talking about the fact that you mean to tell me that you're writing these laws for Peter Nygard? You mean to tell me that Peter Nygard wrote these laws and now we're going to do, like they're trying to belittle it the best way possible as opposed to joining hands and taking this mission now out to the world. I was going to have all of the Life and Key people who were actually my friends to join in now and create this clinic here, you know, Bacon, Mancharu and all that. So he took a lot of rounds out of my reputation in regards to the stem cells part as well.
You've been working in other countries.
Oh yes, yes, many other countries. You know, I helped to write the laws for Panama, and we're doing lots of major work in Panama right now. We're doing China, big time in China is going well, and even South Korea, mm-hmm. Japan. Now the Middle East, I'm going to be on this trip meeting with the emirs over there, the top government people. You know, it's interesting. I never get turned by the top people in this industry, medically, or the top leaders of the countries who embrace and have embracing about this. A lot of middle-aged people have a limited amount of money and are struck down very similarly that we are here with diabetes. You know, it's an epidemic all over the world.
What are you doing in St. Kitts?
St. Kitts, we've been taking some shots over there. I've been trying to get St. Kitts SCND testing going with monkeys over there. Not as successfully as I have wanted to, mm-hmm. you know. And we're doing a parallel testing now in China on that issue. We're doing another test with mice, you know. And what is this testing all about? This testing is all about to prove that this actually works in our body. Proves actually that we can go ahead and put stem cells in and they will rejuvenate our body, you know, and do rebuild our body parts, you know.
Tell us about the RAD Festival.
The RAD Festival is interesting because now I'm becoming a sought-after speaker in a lot of the major medical conventions. There's 1,000 people over there. They end up giving me a standing ovation. Now I was speaking with Mr. Ray Kurzweil, who I was a student of 76 years ago, on the same stage. Now I'm speaking with Susan Summers, who's renowned for that, on the same stage. And now they're doing a story about me and Susan Summers about our journey in this issue. In fact, there's quite a few stories have been done now. I think one of the other tapes you have a little runner of that as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, this is a good time to show our public what the RAD Festival is and your participation in it. So let's take a look at it.
Our next speaker is a real tiger. Introducing Peter Nygard, a world-renowned designer. For over 50 years, he's built himself up from nothing to a self-made billionaire. And what does that really take? It takes a real power of necessity. Something has to become a die-hard must in your life to pull something like this off. You will be hearing from Peter just now. He's going to tell us about a stem cell technology he's working with to really accelerate the reversal of aging. And welcome, Peter Nygard.
Thank you very much. I just want to start off by complimenting Bill Balloon and Jim Stroll for this wonderful conference. I've been to, yes, I think this deserves it. Actually, Jim, I put the jacket on so I would look more like you. I've been to about, since I started this 6 years ago, I've been to about 40 different conferences. I must say I have nothing, ever had something as beneficial as this. And this is truly what really feels like home, really feels like family. Somebody mentioned that. I just love it. Thank you so much. You know, I thought I was crazy 6 years ago when I started going for this word called immortality, and I was afraid to use it, and continually, because people thought I was a complete kook. And it hasn't been until this last year where this thing is really taken hold, you know. And I'm so grateful that we got so many people who are on the same page as I've been for the last 6 years. I started at age 69. I'll put a picture of me. There I am. Yes, that's me, 69 years old, aged, fat, look my age, look unhealthy. And I went down for some solutions. I was just trying to save my mom's life, and I got into this world called stem cells. I walked into Ray Kurzweil's seminar, and a light came on. Immortality. And I couldn't believe that this light came on. And after that, I wanted to find out right away who his doctor was, Terry Grossman. And Terry started me on all this stuff, and Terry spoke here earlier right now. I'm so very grateful you do, Terry, that you got me on the right path over here. You know, preventive medicine. We then went into this program, and I'll show you what happened. Right here, you can see the program that I was on, and after 3 years, there I am with Mel Gibson, and there I am at the end, you know, with all that muscle that I have right now, gone from 215 pounds down to 190 at that point. And the danger with that shot is right now is, and I warn you guys, if you do this, it's very dangerous because all the girls want to jump you. Don't take off your shirt. Here's what we did as far as diet is concerned. It's not that complicated. The number one issue there is the diet. No sugar, white carbs, no resaturated oils.
bottled or packaged sodas or foods. That statement says it all, and I think we've been talking about that over and over again at this conference, you know, about the issue of eating. And if you don't eat right in the first place, nothing after that will work. No matter exercise, no matter stem cells, whatever it is, if you don't start right there, nothing else will work. And I was addicted to sugar. My mom and dad were bakers, and we were weaned on sugar, and they were diabetic. And that's where I got that big stomach from. That was the hardest thing I could do, to break that habit. And I was such a big hero all of my life because I've been telling people to stop smoking and giving people incentives and paying me sometimes $10,000 to start smoking. And I looked in the mirror and I said, what about you, Nygard? What about getting rid of your addiction, you know? And hardest thing I ever did in the world is to give up that sugar addiction. And I did. And I don't need any sugar right now. In fact, now, after 6 years, if I get sugar, my body says, why'd you do it? It tastes awful. You know, I have to drink it back I have to take a beer and get rid of that taste. I drank 6 beers. I got it down to 1 now. I drink a little bit of red wine, etc. And I've been practicing pretty well everything that we're talking about these conferences. And in fact, it's very interesting to see that I don't think that I missed one of these issues that we have at this conference right now in terms of the recommendations. I've been involved with all of them, except the brain. And I noticed in that brain issue, you know, that you had the intuition, you know, you had the emotion, and intelligence. I must say that intuition has been a thing that really brought me to the fame that I end up having, the success I end up having. I always have had the right intuition about doing the right thing at the right time, just as it was to get into this kind of business. And it's that part that I am telling you right now, is that my intuition about where to go with this subject is what I'm going to present to you right now. I got involved with stem cells, not only normal stem cells, but the most important stem cell of them all, embryonic one. Not only embryonic one, but the autologous embryonic one. And that became the word called SCNT, somatic cell nucleus transfer. And I was responsible for making it happen. Everybody else had given up on it. We take all the way back to Dolly the sheep, and I started waving that flag, intuition. Not only that, that once we discovered it, I had to think about the next step. And that was the issue about getting past FDA. We were not going to be able to use it, even though we discovered it, for the next 20 or 30 years. And I got busy, and I started writing laws for other countries, so they could actually have an environment in which you could take and practice and translate this SCNT stuff into some real therapy for all of us. I did that with a number of countries. And I think that's a good one, because the FDA was holding us back then, and it's holding us back even more now. And we have to get the hell out of there in order to do this radical stuff. You won't be able to do the radical stuff here in the United States. You have to take that radical stuff somewhere else, like I did. I took it in China, I took it in other places. So we talk a lot about this radical stuff. You're not going to be able to do radical stuff here in the United States. And we got so much discoveries out there, and we're not going to be able to use it unless we take it offshore. And I'll present a little tape to you in that regard, because this time is going fast, and you'll see what I mean. Oh yeah, that's me now. Now that's from 69. That's a younger than 69 right now. All my inside numbers are the same. Here's the tape. Now pay attention, I'm going to ask questions later.
Since the dawn of time, great men have challenged the status quo and dared to dream.
For every new pioneer, only time can unlock the future. Only history will tell the story.
This is CNN Breaking News.
The University of Oregon made a major announcement on stem cells, one that could lead to breakthroughs in the treatment of Parkinson's, cancer, and many other diseases. For the first time, human skin cells have been transformed into embryonic stem cells. Dr. Shukrat Matalipov of the University of Oregon were successfully able to insert an adult skin cell into an unfertilized human egg, which had been stripped of its existing DNA.
So that way the stem cells we create, they would be compatible if we transplant these tissues back into patient.
The process, called somatic cell nuclear transfer, or SCNT, is not new, but the results are and are considered to be a quantum leap forward in the reversal of aging and the treatment of disease.
The stem cells came to its own with Dolly the sheep in 1997. Up until now, the problem has been one of rejection. Our body simply rejects all foreign objects put into it, including somebody else's stem cells.
It's been 15 years since we invented embryonic stem cell. No one figured out to use it.
You know, ever since scientists discovered embryonic stem cells, they wanted to be able to tailor-make those cells with the genetic material of the patients they're trying to treat. And this is the technique that would finally be able to accomplish that goal.
From the woman's egg, we took out her DNA, put my old 70-year-old DNA in its place, grew it in vitro, develop embryonic stem cells, 8-0. This is huge. This is a game changer. This could eliminate all disease. This perhaps is immortality.
Peter Nygard, a Finnish-Canadian fashion tycoon and self-made billionaire who parlayed an $8,000 loan into an empire with annual profits in the hundreds of millions.
I want to live forever or die trying.
Bring the action.
One man, younger at heart than those half his age, living a life most could only dream of, yet sharing his collective fortune with our collective human fate. To live forever. A 1,000-year-old quest made by the legendary Ponce de Leon, the Spanish explorer who spent his days searching for the fountain of youth.
Ponce de Leon had the right idea. He was just too early. That was then. This is now.
Preach. If you want something different, beloved, you got to do something different.
This has always been a four-step plan: to find the right technology, to find the right country, to write the proper laws, and to get the correct facility.
Human beings in a mind.
Currently, there are two leading technologies in stem cell duplication: SCNT and what is called IPS, induced pluripotent stem cells.
But when I asked anybody which would actually be better, IPS or SCNT, well, of course SCNT, if we could ever get past the religious objections and all the bad PR it's getting.
Last time when it was announced by some Korean researchers, turned out to be a hoax, right?
It was a fraud.
SCNT was dropped altogether. Nobody was interested in it longer. Nobody except me.
Critics say the stem cells come from destroying embryos, and my newsmaker tonight says that is simply not true.
The way in which these stem cell lines were derived is from embryos that are created in the process of in vitro fertilization. And in fact, there are hundreds of thousands of these embryos that are simply being discarded.
We throw in the garbage. We shouldn't do that.
And so in 2009, Peter Nygard creates Nygard Biotech, employing 4 top scientists from around the world in the field of SCNT, channeling his tremendous energy towards finding the missing link in stem cell technology.
The top scientist in SCNT.
I can give you my DNA now.
And one of them was Russian. And of course the Russian was discovered it.
But I'm very glad in any event that you stayed on it, that you made this huge discovery.
Well, this is a very well-respected, well-known team of scientists out at Oregon Health and Science University.
The technology is real, so it works. It's done deal.
I may be the only person in the world who has my own embryonic stem cells growing in a petri dish. Can you imagine that? In that petri dish, that is me before I was born. Science fiction? Scientific fact.
When we die, the money we can't keep, but we probably spend it all because the pain ain't cheap.
With the Western world still embroiled in political debate over embryonic stem cells, Peter set out to find a suitable host country.
We traveled everywhere in the world now for the last 2 years, just looking.
In Shenzhen, Peter forges a partnership with BGI, the world leader in genome sequencing, technology that eliminates all guesswork in medical diagnosis. Combined with SCNT, he would possess both the technology to target future health risks and correct them before they ever happen. But owning the right technology would mean nothing without a country to embrace its use.
Bahamas is almost like the 51st state of the United States. Sits there half an hour away from Miami.
I initiated and helped to write the stem cell legislation, and I took them to many countries. Ultimately, the Bahamas adopted them into law.
The Bahamas now has the opportunity to host several important stem cell initiatives.
Prime Minister Christie has shown tremendous courage and political savvy in order to guide this through the legislature. I don't think I've ever seen or been at a more beautiful place.
2 years ago, Peter Nygard called me to say that if your country is prepared to pass legislation, I would find a way to bring scientists who I have retained, and I'm prepared to have them come into the Bahamas.
But I want you to know that stem cell legislation will be passed by us today.
God bless Peter Nygard.
So Bahamas stands alone in being the unique country that has written laws and has made SCNT legal.
Who's gonna save the world?
It's been said that if you build it, they will come.
This is basically building a new Mayo Clinic.
Now, on an island paradise, Peter Nygard will join hands with the will of a nation and the legislating power of the Bahamian government to build the world's first state-of-the-art clinic to integrate genomic sequencing and SCNT technology, free of political restriction and years ahead of its time. This will be the first of many future Nygard clinics in places like India, Macau, and Thailand.
He has risked everything. His fortune, his reputation, even his own body.
Now, look at my before and after pictures. I come from anti-aging to reverse aging. I've been on stem cell therapy now 4 times a year for the past 3 years. I'm a living testimonial that this really works.
The time has come.
This is a quantum leap.
The future is now.
This is Peter Nygard's message through the effort of stem cell research that God has already given us our own medicine tucked within our bodies. Keep my head from going down just for a little, just for a little. Watch my feet go off the ground just for a little, just for a little. You can hear this sound, oh just give me something.
If you don't risk anything, you risk everything.
It's a damn good tape, you know. It's been around for 2 years right now. It's one of the most played off tapes there is in the world right now in terms of this immortality. I'm going to just tell you, I don't have that much time, any time actually. This is the closest thing to immortality that we have today. If we get on with this embryonic, autologous embryonic stem cell, we have no idea what we can do with it. But it is real answer to immortality right here. And I got so many more things to do. I've been taking stem cells for 6 years now, 4 times a year, probably more than anybody else, and look at the results. It has proven out to be so, and my body and everything else is a good testimony to that. I'm going to start taking embryonic stem cells in November. I'm taking my own exosomes already, et cetera, et cetera. I think about 10 different things right now, you know, that I can hardly wait to tell you about in our next meeting. So enjoy.
Thank you so much, panelists. First question I have, if you're going to live to 500 years, what would you like to master? I would love to master Argentinian tango. Yeah. What would you love to master? Peter?
I like to master immortality.
Yeah.
Woo! And I like to do it through SCNT.
Fantastic. Well, you're doing it. Thank you. Peter, when will Nygard Biotech open in the Bahamas?
I don't want to answer that question. I want to tag on to his statement. I spent about $20 million now in this last 6 years looking into this whole subject and reaching and going to with most important people in the world to learning something about it. I'll tell you what I really learned, you know, and this is a pretty simple way of putting it. You know, old age is the perfect host for disease.
And if you don't want to get disease, don't get old. And we run out of stem cells. That's the reason we get old. And take stem cells. That's my message. That's what I've been doing. That's what it works, especially embryonic, especially new, young, energetic stem cells. We just don't take enough stem cells. That's my message to all of you who are here right now. Take stem cells.
That's right.
So, thank you. Is there a cost that you can tell us about for the stem cell treatment? Or is it a long dialogue?
Was it to me?
Yeah.
What was the question?
What's the cost of the stem cell treatment?
There's various costs, you know.
Okay.
But just this basic stem cell treatment that you take it from umbilical cord for mesenchymal stem cells, they'll run somewhere from $15,000 to $25,000, you know, and it's worth every cent. You know? And I've been doing it for years. And you can't really do it in the United States. I've been doing it in China with my Chinese partners who are here right now, as well as in Panama. Nygard has one of the best stem cells in the world right now. The last one I took over there, it was remarkable, you know, what we're doing. So I sent as many of my friends over there to take these stem cells from in Panama, for example, from Neil Ryden's clinic. So it's something that is expensive today, but the costs are going to go down there. But it's worth every penny of it.
That you saw was the RAD Festival and the participation of Peter Nygard in the RAD Festival, and you are putting some of the medical practitioners, some physicians to shame, it seems.
I don't know if the shame is the right one. It's interesting that they're now there to learn from me.
They're learning from you.
And they respect what I have gained here. And they respect the fact that I'm there using this testing on myself, and I can show the results both externally and internally.
You've been able to do this because you simply have the resources to do it.
Yeah, that's right. But difference, I'm using the resource in the best way possible that the world could ever see, not the way Bacon's using his resources. Mm-hmm. And this is the issue of how you spend your money. You can have all this wealth you got in the world, and how you spend it is very, very critical. I want to spend it not only for my own preservation, but make a contribution to the society in there. We all have this legendary type of contribution in mind all the time. You know, every guy who gets to my position and doesn't know what to do with their money, they're looking for ways of breaking themselves in a legend. I'll tell you, this baby is a biggie. They call me the Steve Jobs of this industry, you know.
Steve Jobs, eh?
Steve Jobs, you know, he had a vision and,
yes.
and it succeeded. And this is even bigger. So I want to make a contribution to my love of my life, Bahamas. I wanted to go ahead and really make a message on here to take these wonderful people in Bahamas, these wonderful gene pool that we're born with, and we're born with one of the best gene pools over here. And then we see that deteriorating to the point where it deteriorates. And everybody sort of pinches themselves and what the hell's happened to me, you know? I know what's happening. I want to put the message out there. I want to lead the way in that. I wanted the Prime Minister to lead the way in there. So I'm all about, and the reason I'm even on this program right now, I want to talk about health. So I want to talk about what's healthy for Bahamas.
But beyond that, you are making a major contribution to humanity.
Making a major contribution to humanity. It's absolutely right. And people are starting to recognize it. This last year alone, there was much recognition about this SC&T world that I've been involved with for 6 years as all the other 5 years combined. All of a sudden, I'm walking around like I'm a celebrity, you know. I never wanted to be a celebrity in it. I just wanted to survive,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But by the fact of what I've been able to accomplish, it's given me a tremendous stage right now, you know, to move ahead. And I got a lot of people, rich people, following me behind. And then said, where do I sign up? Peter, I like what you're doing, you know, and that's why I'm meeting a lot of top richest people in the world in the far Middle East now. I'm going on this trip right now. You know.
Well, Peter Nygard, I want to congratulate you on all that you've been doing in terms of not only health care, but the preservation of lives. And when I'm 75, I want to have that same strong grip of the giant, that shake that you have. Yeah. And I hope we are able to do more programs like this. so that we can educate our public on exactly what you are doing, not only in the Bahamas, but around the world.
Yeah, I'd like to do more, and I'd like us to have a regular health program, you know, for your channel. You know,
Yes.
That's a little bit like some of the USA Health channels.
That will be very
I can
good.
make a contribution.
That will be very good. I'm standing on that particular promise that we are going to work together to better educate our people on healthcare initiatives, because we have a whole lot of people who are suffering from non-communicable diseases, diabetes and hypertension and all of these issues.
Unfortunately, we Bahamians, I say we now, we are some of the unhealthiest people in the world. Isn't that ironic?
Yes.
Why? Because what do we eat? We can't keep eating like this. We can't eat that sugar. We can't eat those white carbohydrates. We can't eat the resaturated oils. All the macaroni and cheese and all this Kentucky Fried Chicken, we're dying from it.
Yes.
You know, and American food is killing the world. Yes. As soon as the Middle East started eating American food, they got fat. As soon as Japanese started eating, they get fat. As Chinese get fat. American food is a killer for the whole world. If America is making a disservice to the world, it's their food.
It's the American way of life that leads to the American way of death.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
American diseases, yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you so very much for being here again. Thank you. Appreciate your being here as always. See the grip of the giant. Thank you so very much for watching and listening to our program. Good evening, everyone.